Hey, what's going on? Quis here from Sports Vibes TV. And in this video, I just want to talk a little bit about what's going on right now in NFL free agency and how it could potentially affect the Giants. Some of the big things that's happened right now, especially in the edge rusher market, is the fact that Matt Judon and Shaquille Barrett are both signed to teams. Shaquille Barrett, he's been re-signed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's going back to Tampa on a 4-year, $72 million deal. In that deal, they're going to have 36 million of it guaranteed. And also with that contract, it has a base salary of 17 million, but there's escalators that if he gets over, I think 15 sacks, and also if the team gets into the playoffs, the base salary then jumps from 17 mil to 18 mil. So that is something that the Giants can kind of compare when they're looking at edges to kind of bring in and try to compete for our team. Now, if you look at Matt Judon's contract, he signed a 4-year deal, but with the New England Patriots. His deal is a lot cheaper. It's 4 years, 56 million, and then there's 32 million of that, which is guaranteed. And I also believe he's going to be receiving 32 mil in the first 2 years. So he's getting a slight pay cut when you look at what he was making last season with the Ravens on the franchise tag. He was making 17 mil that year, if I'm not mistaken. And now the first 2 years, he's going to be making about 16 mil. If you look at the entire contract, he's making about 13 mil annually, but who knows if he'll even make it to those last couple of years on that deal. So the way this affects the Giants is because we all know as Giants fans, we're in the market for an edge rusher. So these are the terms that the Giants are going to have to be negotiating against or basing their negotiations on as we go to look and fill out our defense and make it a little bit more potent this offseason. Now, when you look at the remaining landscape of edge rushers, who we could potentially target, there's Carl Lawson. I've made a video on him. I'm going to link that up above. He's an interesting option. Played for the Bengals last season. He's a player that's versatile. He'll be able to work in Patrick Graham's defensive system. Great. And when I'm looking at these edge rushers, I'm trying to find edge rushers that can do a little bit of everything. Of course, we're going to want them to be their focus, getting to the passer and trying to get sacks. But we know with Patrick Graham's scheme, and we know with the way Joe Judge's coaching philosophy, he likes players that can do a little bit of everything and serve multiple purposes. So if we can go out and get a Carl Lawson who can do that with this team, and I think he can excel under Patrick Graham, I think we'll be good to go. Outside of Carl Lawson, there's also Hassan Reddick. Now, Hassan Reddick, once again, is a player a lot of Giants fans should be familiar with. Reddick went out there against us last season, and he got 5 sacks in one game, and it was brutal to watch, especially as a Giants fan. So he should be someone that should be on our radar. He should not be as expensive as a Carl Lawson, as a Matt Judon, because he only really had 1 season of production, which was last year. But if you look at what the scouts are saying about him, the reason his production could have been low is the fact that they weren't using him in the right spots. They were not using him primarily as an edge rusher. So last season, they used him as an edge rusher, and we saw him get 12.5 sacks on the season. The reason I like Hassan Reddick is the fact that, yes, scouts were saying that the Cardinals were using him in ways that weren't the most effective. But since we have that gaping hole at edge rusher, we can slot him in, have him be comfortable in the position he showed some promise in last season. And also Reddick was a first-round pick, so there is talent. There are things that we can work with Hassan Reddick, and we have a coaching staff that I think is very good at developing players. That was one big thing I think Joe Judge was looking at when he was building out his coaching staff. Bringing in people that can work with these players. And like Joe Judge said in his press conferences, as coaches, we don't necessarily tell me what they can't do. Show me what they can do. And I think Hassan Reddick last season showed us exactly what he can do. And that's get to the quarterback with very good efficiency. So those are 2 options. There are some fringe options like Leonard Floyd we could try to go after. There's also Bud Dupree. But of course, Bud Dupree had that debilitating injury last season, was out for the majority of it. So if we do decide to go that route, there's going to be some cons, some negatives that could arise from spending so much money on a player that had a major injury like he did. So I just want to know what you guys think down in the comments. Now that we're starting to see what these edge rushers are signing for, what do you think the Giants should do? Which edge rushers that are still available should we target? And what kind of contract should we be offering them? We know Dave Gettleman is kind of archaic when it comes to the way he structures his contract. You know, I wish we would have had some kind of creativity like they have over there, you know, with the Kansas City Chiefs and the way they structured, you know, Mahomes' contract, the way they structured Kelsey's contract. So I like what Kansas City has been doing with their GM. I wish Gettleman had the same level of creativity and foresight with the Giants roster, but we'll see what he does. He had a pretty good offseason last year, and I got some faith in him. I'll allow him to make these moves and see what direction he's planning on going. Because right now, this offseason is very important, especially when it comes to Daniel Jones's development and continuing to go on this upward trajectory. We had a very good, promising season in Joe Judge's first year. So now we just have to build upon that and see if we can get better and try to take control of the NFC East. So once again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'm Quis, host of Sports Vibes TV, and I'm out.